The 2016 September Apple event, the event at which Apple will announce the brand new iPhone 7s, is almost here. It's actually happening tomorrow, so by the time you're watching this video, it's going to be less than 24 hours until the iPhone 7s are going to be unveiled. Now, Apple has sent out the invites for the event, and this is how they look. See you on the 7th. So yeah, the iPhone 7's unveil event on September the 7th. And yes, the new iPhones are going to be the highlight of this event. However, the new iPhones is not the only thing that Apple is going to announce tomorrow. So hey everyone, and welcome to the Zen of Tech. I'm Daniel. And yeah, as always, here's everything that we're expecting to see tomorrow at the 2016 September Apple event. Enjoy. So number one, this is obviously going to be the brand new iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. So these are going to be the main highlight of the 2016 September Apple event, and I've already covered everything there's to know in terms of the iPhone 7 in my Final Leaks of Rumor series. And by the way, over the past few days, all the final iPhone 7 details have been confirmed by multiple sources. So all the spec details, all the camera details, including that sensor size that we didn't know before, and also all the design details. And in case you missed it, I did a video yesterday covering 16 brand new iPhone 7 confirmed iPhone 7 features that I haven't talked about in my previous iPhone 7 Leaks and Rumor series. So yeah, definitely check out this video in case you want to know all the final details about the iPhone 7 before tomorrow's event. But yeah, long story short, you pretty much know what to expect from the iPhone 7. So same exact design as the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6s. The biggest design differences are going to be the lack of the headphone jack, that's going away. The antenna bands on the back are also going away, so only the one on the sides are going to still be there. And we're also getting a second speaker grill, which by the way is not actually going to be a speaker, but an amplifier instead. And yeah, I covered this in detail in yesterday's video. Other than that, the performance is going to be about 35% better, so faster performance on the iPhone 7 than on the iPhone 6s. So the brand new Apple A10 chip, which is also based on a 10nm process, so it's also more power efficient than before, a dual-core 2.45 GHz processor. So this is going to be a pretty huge leap over the iPhone 6s. Again, 2GB of RAM in the iPhone 7, 3GB in the iPhone 7 Plus. The next major improvement is going to be in terms of water resistancy. So the iPhone 7s are going to be water resistant. Unfortunately, they're not going to be IP68, in fact the S7 or the S7 Edge are going to be IPX7, just like the Apple Watch. Another big change is going to be in terms of the cameras. So if you take a closer look at the Apple event invites, you can pretty much see two major things. The first one is the bokehs, the light bokehs that form the Apple logo, and then the second one is the background, which is black. In my opinion, those two things suggest, one, that the aperture is much larger on the iPhone 7 than on the iPhone 6s, and again, this has been confirmed, f1.9 on the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus compared to f2.2 like we had on the iPhone 6s. And two, because of this and also because of that larger sensor, low light photography is greatly going to be improved on both the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. The home button is also going away, so no more home button on the iPhone 7, well, no more clickable home button on the iPhone 7. We're only going to get that Force Touch home button, which is going to make an appearance tomorrow. The battery life is also going to be much better on the iPhone 7, so 1960 mAh battery on the iPhone 7 and 2910 on the iPhone 7 Plus. This combined with the efficiency of the Apple A10 chip, which again is a 10nm process, so the die size is smaller and the processor is much more power efficient. Overall, the battery life is going to be a really welcome improvement over the iPhone 6s. I'm not going to go in any more detail because I've pretty much covered everything in terms of the iPhone 7 in my previous videos. But yeah, the big question, when is this thing going to be released? So the unveil event is tomorrow, September the 7th, and according to some sources, the pre-orders will start 2 days after, so on September the 9th. And then the iPhones will ship a week later on September the 16th. Now take a look at this leaked AT&T inventory image, and according to this, September the 9th and September the 23rd are the dates when the merchandise is going to reset. So this again confirms September the 9th as being the pre-order date, and the launch date in the end might be September 16th or September the 23rd. And yeah, the majority of the event is going to be focused on the iPhone 7, pretty much on how the iPhone 7 won't come with a headphone jack and why having no headphone jack is much better than having a headphone jack. Apple will try really hard to convince you that. Apple's also going to promote their new headphones, so the new Apple AirPods are going to be unveiled tomorrow as well at the event. They're also going to talk about how low light photography has been greatly improved on the iPhone 7 and how the dual camera sensor on the iPhone 7 Plus is simply epic. So yeah, this is what 60 to 70% of the event is going to be focused on. And if at this very moment you're not convinced that you will be getting an iPhone 7 after the Apple event tomorrow, well, you will probably be convinced otherwise. But yeah, if you want to see how the iPhone 7 compares to the iPhone 6s, for example, or the iPhone 7 versus the iPhone 7 Plus, I did two separate videos, really in-depth videos on these topics as well. Moving on to number 2, the second big announcement is going to be this thing. Not the Apple Watch 1, but the Apple Watch 2. The Apple Watch 2 is coming tomorrow. So if you go to Apple's website, almost all Apple Watch models are now out of stock, and even some Apple Watch bands, all of which point to an imminent update. And by the way, an update for the Apple Watch has been long overdue. The first generation Apple Watch, this one, was unveiled in September 2014 alongside the iPhone 6, so that was actually, yeah, 2 years ago. Really, really long time ago. However, the Apple Watch 1 was only released in April 2015. In terms of the second generation Apple Watch, the Apple Watch 2, again, I also did a really in-depth video on this as well. Apple Watch 2, my finalists and rumors video. So in case you want to know everything there's to know in terms of the Apple Watch 2, the video is linked here. Again, I'm linking all these videos because they're really long and in-depth. And yeah, if I were to say everything that I've already said in those videos in this video, then this video would have been like almost 2 hours long. And no one wants to watch a 2-hour video. But long story short, in terms of the Apple Watch 2, the design is going to remain exactly the same. And this is both a good and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because in my opinion, the Apple Watch 1, it looks okay, it looks good, but it doesn't look amazing. In my opinion, the best looking Apple Watch is still the Huawei watch. This thing just screams premium, and it actually looks like an actual watch instead of the Apple Watch, which does look like a smart watch. And yes, rectangular displays do give you more screen real estate, although in my opinion, circular displays on watches and smartwatches look much better. Okay Daniel, so what are going to be the main changes in terms of the Apple Watch 2? So the first one is going to be a brand new processor, the Apple S2 processor. In case you don't know, the S1 that's inside the Apple Watch 1, this is actually a 32-bit chip. So it's not even a 64-bit chip. The second generation, the S2, is going to be a 64-bit processor. And yes, the Apple Watch 1 is pretty slow and it lags constantly. Even with watchOS 3.0, the Apple Watch 2 is going to be much faster, up to 50% faster than the first generation Apple Watch, so the speed is going to be the main improvement. The amount of RAM is also going to be increased from 512 megabytes on the Apple Watch 1 to 1 gigabyte on the Apple Watch 2. Besides this, another one of the key selling points of the Apple Watch 2 is going to be a GPS. So yeah, the Apple Watch 2 will be able to track your exact position without you needing to have your iPhone in your pocket all the time. Pretty cool. Next up, we have improved water resistancy. The Apple Watch 2 is going to be more water resistant than the Apple Watch 1. Maybe it's finally going to be IPX8 certified, and better water resistancy also hints to the possibility of Apple including a swimming workout in the Workouts app as well. So hopefully you will be able to go swimming with your Apple Watch. I still go swimming with my Apple Watch, even though I shouldn't, because chlorine damages the seals that seals the watch from water. But now with the Apple Watch 2, apparently you would be able to do this officially and hopefully track your swimming progress as well. That would be really awesome to see. Another big improvement is going to be in terms of the battery life. So before I said that the Apple Watch 2 is going to look exactly the same as the Apple Watch 1, and that's mostly true. The only design difference is going to be in terms of the display. But the display of the Apple Watch 2 is much thinner than the display on the Apple Watch 1. It's finally laminated, by the way, finally. And because the display is much thinner now, Apple actually had more room inside the Apple Watch 2, more room for a larger battery. A battery that's actually 35% larger than the Apple Watch 1. Now this increase in battery is mostly needed for that GPS and also for the new fitness trackers and also for the new processor. However, the battery life overall is still going to be quite a bit better than on the Apple Watch 1. With my first generation Apple Watch, I can go through 1.5 days of usage, so with the Apple Watch 2, maybe this will be bumped to 2 days. The Apple Watch 2 is also going to come with some brand new sensors. The first one is going to be a barometer. So for example, if you decide to climb a hill or a mountain, the Apple Watch 2 will actually know the height of your climb. The iPhone 6s already comes with a barometer, by the way. And then a second sensor is supposedly going to be an oxygen level meter. I also covered this in my Apple Watch 2 Finals and Rumors video. The Apple Watch 1 does come with an oxygen level meter, however, for some reason it's disabled. Apparently it didn't get the FCC approval in time. And the Apple Watch 2 is supposedly going to have it activated this time, and hopefully the Apple Watch 1 will get an update to activate it as well. New materials such as titanium have been said to come, so titanium would be more expensive than the Apple Watch, the stainless steel edition. However, I don't see this coming honestly, just because, well, the Apple Watch Sport, the cheapest one, is the most popular option. In my Finalists and Rumors episode, I also talked about iPhone independency. Unfortunately, this won't be coming with the Apple Watch 2, only with the next Apple Watch next year, so it basically won't have an LTE modem inside, so you will still need your iPhone for everything other than GPS. Finally, in terms of the Apple Watch, there have been more rumors suggesting that Apple will actually unveil 2 Apple Watch models tomorrow. One of them being the Apple Watch 2, and the second one being an upgraded version of the Apple Watch 1, an Apple Watch S. And the Apple Watch S would be a cheaper version of the Apple Watch 2, so it would come with that processor, the new processor, and 1 GB of RAM as well. However, it won't come with GPS, the new sensors, and no better water protection at all. I personally don't see Apple doing this, releasing 2 separate Apple Watch models with so little differences between them, but I just wanted to mention this anyways because there have been a lot of reports on this. But considering what Tim has done in the past, like releasing an iPad Air 3 with a different name, iPad Pro 9.7 inch, and then asking more just because of the name, well, anything is possible. So who knows, we might see like 10 different Apple Watch models tomorrow. Next up, we have iOS 10. So iOS 10 is expected to be released tomorrow. We haven't had the GM version yet, and the GM version is usually released a few days before the final public release. Now, usually the new Apple event is when Apple releases the new software to the public. So the new iOS 10, the new macOS Sierra, and the new watchOS 3, but again, we haven't had the GM version yet, so most likely Apple is going to release the GM tomorrow, and then the final version to the public around the 20th of September. Number 4, let's talk about something that we haven't talked about in a really long time, the iPods. So unfortunately, the iPods are pretty much dead. If you go on Apple's website, you can see that the iPod menu has actually been removed completely. You can only find it now on the bottom of the page, so yeah. I personally do not see any iPod updates tomorrow at all. The iPod Nano was last updated in 2012, so yeah, 4 years ago. The iPod Classic was actually removed completely, so Apple stopped selling the iPod Classic. And then the iPod Shuffle was last updated in 2010, so 6 years ago. Now the iPod Touch, however, is the only iPod that seems to be still alive. Apple actually updated the iPod Touch with the 6th generation iPod Touch last year. It still featured the same design as the iPod Touch 5th generation, only with the Apple A8 processor this time instead of the Apple A5, and 1GB instead of 512MB of RAM. It also came with an iPhone 5S camera on the back, and that was pretty much it. When and if the iPod Touch is going to be updated, it's going to be with a brand new design, so that's most likely going to happen next year with the iPhone 8 that's also going to come with a brand new, completely new redesign. Number 5, what about the iPads? Well, we are waiting for a brand new 12.9 inches iPad Pro because the newer 9.7 inch one actually has a much better display. It also has a much better camera, so in some areas it's actually much better than the 12.9 inch one. However, the iPhone 7 and the Apple Watch 2 will pretty much take the entire event's time. So these will be the two main focuses of the Apple event. The iPads will either be updated in October or at the beginning of next year in March. Now, just a quick thing to point out, the iPad Air 2, that was the one that was released in 2014. A lot of resellers stopped selling it, so it's out of stock in pretty much every reseller, and it's usually hints towards an update, so an iPad Air 3 might be released, but not now, in October. And finally, number 6, this is actually the thing that I'm most excited about, brand new Macs. So we won't be seeing any new Macs tomorrow at the event, however, we will be seeing some new Macs in October. That's going to be another separate event, most likely focused on only the Macs and the iPads. The MacBook Pro is going to get some pretty big updates because the current generation MacBook Pro, well, it's really outdated. It still runs on a Haswell architecture processor, which has been released in 2013, so it hasn't been updated, the architecture, since 2013, so yeah. The GPU and the flash storage have been updated last year in 2015, however this year's model is going to be pretty huge. I did a leaks and rumors video about the new MacBook Pro, the 2016 MacBook Pro. Long story short, this is going to be a massive update, brand new design. It's also going to have a touch bar that will replace the function keys, a new AMD Polaris architecture, faster flash storage, and also USB 3.1 Type-C, and Thunderbolt 3 as well. And then the new iMacs are also going to be updated with the brand new AMD Polaris architecture in October as well. And the MacBook Air is also expected to be getting an update with USB-C and a Retina display as well in October. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what are you guys most excited for when it comes to tomorrow's Apple event? For me personally, it's the iPhone 7 for tomorrow, and then definitely the new MacBook Pros in October. Also feel free to subscribe to my channel, Son of Tech, for more Apple event coverage tomorrow, and also feel free to follow me on Twitter at Son of Tech for more tech updates there as well. Also, don't forget to turn on notifications on my channel on both desktop and mobile. On mobile by simply clicking on the bell icon next to my channel so that you're notified as soon as I upload a brand new epic video. Feel free to give this video a huge like if you have enjoyed it, and also if you were epic enough to make it to this point of this video, let me know in the comments by saying I was epic enough to make it to this point of this video, hashtag Apple event September. But yeah, this was pretty much it for this video. I'm really excited for tomorrow's event, so yeah, thank you all for watching this video. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Son of Tech, signing out. Cheers.